Landing at Gallon Jug was the beginning of my birding trip to Belize. Hi, I'm Bob Barnes for Natural Video. In April, I spent 2 weeks birding in Belize, 1 week at Chanchich and 1 week at San Pedro on the coast. Belize is one of the premier birding spots in Central America. Mayan ruins, exotic birds, friendly people. It's a wonderful place to go. I encourage you to visit. In this tape, you'll see some of the ruins, some of the birds, and get an idea of what it's like to bird Belize, ruins and reefs. Good birding. Chanchich Lodge is built on the grounds of an unexcavated Mayan temple complex. The government of Belize agreed to this arrangement to prevent the ruins from being looted and to curtail marijuana growing in the area. It's an arrangement which has worked well for everyone, especially the birding tourists or others who are interested in natural history. Chanchich has an extensive trail system. Just a few feet from our cabana, these trails led into the jungle. Across the compound was the beginning of the river trail, one of my favorites. It was along the river trail that I found this rufous-tailed jacamar. This pygmy kingfisher, known in some texts as the American pygmy kingfisher, was perched above a small pool and would periodically dive for food. A few feet further down the trail, I found a green kingfisher. The grounds at the lodge were immaculate. The food was excellent, and you could always get something cold to drink. The cabanas were clean, cool, and absolutely wonderful. Just outside our cabana stood one of the Mayan mounds which made up the complex. Like other unexcavated areas, trees grew on top of the mounds, and it was difficult to determine if the hills were natural or man-made. One morning, as the mist hung low along the ground, these Aztec parakeets flew into a tree at the edge of the compound. I developed quite a cabana list while at Chanchich. Birds like this mastidera would fly into the trees along the edge of the complex. Ocellated turkeys, one of the birds which I really wanted to see on this trip, roam the grounds of the lodge. This turkey is found only on the Yucatan Peninsula, which includes this part of Belize, and can grow to 40 inches. Butterflies and moths were prevalent. Mosquitoes were not. I came across an ant swarm on one occasion, making for some exciting birding. And from time to time, I came across howler monkeys and lizards like this one found along the river trail. The grounds of Chanchich were planted with numerous flowers, making for a beautiful and restful environment. Not so restful for this bat, which was caught by a bat falcon. I came across this bird one afternoon and spent quite a while watching it high in the canopy. Be sure to take a night walk while at Chanchich. You might have a chance to see a jaguar, although that's not likely. What you will probably see are bats. It's quite exotic to sense them flying by in almost total darkness. Montezuma oropendulas build long weaver-like nests. Seeing these nests hanging from trees is one of my cherished memories of tropical birding. These birds nest in colonies, sometimes 100 or more. The nest can be as long as 6 feet, although 3 feet is more typical. Not all nests in the tropics are as grand as the oropendulas. Some, like this crimson-tailed hummingbird nest, can be found under palm fronds along the trail. They're just as amazing as their larger counterparts. But you don't have to wander into the jungle to find hummingbird nests. This one, barely larger than a quarter, was staked out on the lodge grounds. Be sure to ask the staff what birds they're seeing. I found a Central American pygmy owl near Norman's Temple. It was about 8:30 in the morning, and I saw one of the pair fly into the nest. I was lucky enough to hear its call, barely audible above the wind and the trees. Ocellated turkeys, like this one at the lodge, can be found in the jungle as well. A pair were near the pygmy owl, for instance. The ocellated turkey is not the only large bird in the area. I watched this crested guan from my cabana porch. Crested guans can grow to 3 feet. After the guan left, I wandered down to the other end of the complex to watch slavey-tailed trogons. On this day, I watched 6 birds for about half an hour. The feathers of the ocellated turkey are one of the most beautiful things seen in the jungle. Everything about this bird is exotic, including the spikes on its legs. This gray-necked wood rail was found in a small grassy area where the lodge burns its garbage. In the brush nearby, there were a variety of warblers, including this hooded. My last day, I lounged at the lodge and studied the ever-present turkey, but then I was off to Gallon Jug in an airplane to take me to Belize City and on to San Pedro. San Pedro is another world entirely. Here the focus shifts to the sea and wonderful snorkeling and scuba diving. I started my snorkeling adventure north of town at Mexico Rocks. San Pedro is a laid-back tourist town with friendly people, dirt streets, and lots of golf carts, the major mode of transportation. All of the basic services are available, and although frigate birds soar overhead, the birding is not nearly as good as it is in the interior. Although I prefer to snorkel, there is excellent scuba diving along the outer reef. on the surface, life continues at an idyllic pace. Along every dock, fishermen cast their nets, and tourists lounge. The sun beats down, and the reef breaks in the distance. Along the docks, frigate birds are the predominant species. On the other side of the island, which is only a few hundred meters away, the mangroves and mosquitoes are predominant, and the birding is much better, including nesting these terns. The boats always seem to be in a hurry, but otherwise the pace is generally casual. On several occasions, I journeyed south of town to snorkel at the famed Ho Chan Marine Reserve.
said my goodbyes to the people of San Pedro and the frigate birds and headed home.